If you're struggling to pay your bills and want to get out of debt, then you need to listen to our next guest. Debt relief attorney Kevin Heipel is discussing your options for eliminating debt and how to rebuild your financial future. He's also the author of Get Debt Free with Me. And Kevin has been featured in USA Today's Legal Elite, CNBC, The Brian Tracy Show, and has helped thousands of good people just like you get out of that. Kevin is giving away 31 copies of his book and has a special offer for our viewers on how to get his 7 steps to a 720 credit score, and that is for free. You have a lot going on.
We do.
So first, how does someone know if they have a debt problem?
Well, there's always some obvious ways. You're missing payments, you're getting collection calls, you're being sued, or your wages are being garnished. The not so obvious way is what I call the cycle of debt. And that's when you pay your credit cards each month and you only turn around to use them for essential things like groceries and gas. The other thing is your credit cards are maxed out. You can only afford to make the minimum payments. You've recently been denied credit, or you're just arguing with your spouse about money and debt, general and problem.
Like,
and so
help me here. What do we do?
Those are signs to get help.
So does a certain type of person get into too much debt? I think it's all of us. You give me a credit card and shopping, done.
Well, it can be that, or the big thing that puts people in debt problems is there's an unexpected surprise that happens in their life. They lose their job.
That's true.
Their income drops. Their business fails. And so they use debt to kind of help supplement themselves until they get back on their feet. And then when they do get back on their feet, there's just too much debt to repay. Because if your unsecured debt's more than 20% of your income, which means if you make 50 grand a year, and you got more than $10,000 of credit card debt, you're not going to pay it off. And that's when you need help.
Yeah, it's so hard too. And you know, you do think of those emergencies and that it's a scary time, and you do go that way, and then later you got to get out of that. That's where you're here to help. So what are some solutions for someone who is struggling to pay those bills? I mean, that's when you want to not use the credit cards.
Right. We always look at 3 things to get people out of debt. We look at credit counseling, and that's the way you can repay your credit cards off at a low interest rate. We look at debt settlement, where you can pay off your debt for pennies on the dollar. And then we'll look at bankruptcy, which will wipe out most debts except taxes, student loans, child support, and alimony.
And what do you think some solutions work for then? I mean, what are those solutions for eliminating debt? You can't stop living.
No, you can't stop living, and that's the key. If you can't afford to pay your debt, then you need to look for a solution. And what we do is when you come into our office, we look at your income, we look at your assets, we look at what type of debt you have, and what is your goal? I mean, what do you want to see when you get out of debt? And then based on that, we'll find the right solution for you, whether it's credit counseling, bankruptcy, or debt settlement.
And people are so scared of that, though, because then they might think, I'm going to lose my home, I'm going to lose my cars, all these assets. Myth or fact?
Myth.
Is it?
Especially when it comes to bankruptcy, people think, well, I can't file bankruptcy, I'll lose my home.
Yeah.
The reality is, you're allowed what we call a fresh start with bankruptcy, where you can keep your house, you can keep your car, you can keep 100% of your retirement account. So if you're thinking about dipping into retirement to pay off debt, call us first. Let's make sure that makes sense, because there might be a better solution than that.
And then I think student loans and lowering those, and that'll start off a person's future on kind of a rough start, but you're there to help.
Yeah, I mean, student loans are a big problem, and it goes back to that 20% number. And the reality is, people are coming out of school with 100% student loan to income. So the reality is, they can't afford to make those payments. The good news is there's income-based repayment solutions out there where you can repay your student loans at 15 to 20% of your disposable income. So rather than being buried by your student loans, now you can make a payment that you can afford. And the good news is you can get loan forgiveness after 10, 25 years, which means if you don't pay the loan off during that time, it's forgiven. You don't have to pay it later.
And people, they could be thinking, well, you're a lawyer, you've never had to struggle, but that's not true. You have passion for this.
I do. I mean, I own my own business. I know what it's like to struggle. And when I was growing up, my father lost his business, and we had to start over. So I know when you're struggling with debt, there's a lot of emotions that are going on. There's fear and there's anxiety. And my goal is to help you get over it so we can get you out of the debt and get you on with a new life.
Now, what is your money-back guarantee?
Well, there's so many options out there when we're talking about credit counseling, debt settlement, and bankruptcy that when I recommend a solution to get you out of debt, I'm so confident that it's the right one that if it doesn't work to get you out of the debt, then I'll refund all your attorney fees.
And you have an excellent rating with AVVO, and that's actually a lawyer rating website. And the money-back guarantee, you have the 7 steps to a 720 credit score and also a free consultation. How can you go wrong with that?
Well, we're here to help people get out of their debt, and that's the best way we find they can do it.
And we have one of your clients, and they're going to share their experience with us. And it's always good to hear from someone who's actually worked with you. So
Sure.
take a listen.
All right.
I was so stressed out and anxious about a lawsuit that had been filed against us. And just coming to Hypo Law relieved that stress immediately with our first consultation.
I think what I liked most about working with them was how quickly they responded to everything, how available they were every time I called, and if it was something real timely, they made sure I talked to someone right away. If it wasn't, you know, they always called me back.
When I had first called, I was in the midst of calling a bunch of different law firms, and in between getting to run around and all jacked up prices and different attitudes from different attorneys, I was greeted one like I had respect and dignity, and she made me feel real at home that everything's gonna be okay. It's not the end of the world. It's just something that you happen to go through in life, and she made me reassured that once we get this out, I'll be a better person and with a fresh start.
So what's the truth about actually rebuilding your credit? Does it take 7 years and then you can start?
No, I mean, we offer a program called 7 Steps to a 720 credit score, and the goal of that program is to get you to a 720 credit score within 1 year of filing bankruptcy. And the reason 720 is an important number, it's when you get the lowest interest rates. It's when you get the best interest rates for buying a car, for buying a house, and the lowest rates on the credit card. So rebuilding credit is definitely a possibility.
So you always are helping our viewers, and you have a special offer. What does that involve?
Well, with the 7 Steps to 720 credit score, if you're interested in that program, come in for an initial consultation. Whether you hire us or not, we'll give you that program for free so that you can help rebuild your credit.
And then there you go, and then the rest you need to meet with him. So by the
Right.
way, nice color today.
All right, thank
How
you.
we color coordinated. Well, if you'd like to schedule a free consultation to solve your debt problem, get a copy of Kevin's book and take advantage of his 7 steps to a 720 credit score for free. The number 720-319-8904. There are only 31 appointments available, so you need to call right now. The first 31 callers will receive Kevin's book, and his offices are very convenient, downtown Denver, Broomfield, and the Denver Tech Center, Loveland, and even Colorado Springs. The number 720-319-8904. The Hypo Law Firm paid for the segment. Keep it here.